players getting ready to take their places, seats for round 15.
And just like magic, we whisked them to their chairs. And
Right? How did we do that? Boy, Kevin, our cameraman, must be really good.
Yeah.
Getting the grandmasters to sit down is like herding cats.
And we see Alireza, white pieces against Fabiano.
Getting into the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I like that, cracking the knuckles, ready for the fight that is about to appear. And Alireza, he's one of the most creative players around, very dangerous.
Exactly.
You always feel like the players don't quite have a measure of him. They feel like he's so unpredictable that the genius could show up and then maybe a different caliber of player.
The potential and talent, if you want to put it like that, is absolutely enormous. It's off the chart. And it was only a few years ago that Alireza was storming the chess world and then stunned the chess world at the same time by saying he really is inspired by fashion. And he was thinking about moving into the fashion world and design and what have you. And I was like,
I loved that, by the way.
You did?
Yeah,
I was horrified.
He had the confidence to do that because it takes guts to give up on a lifelong dream and go, hang on a second, I want to just pivot and try my hand at something else.
Kaisa is a fickle mistress. She doesn't like you doing anything but playing chess. So,
but your brain loves it when you do other things as
challenge.
well.
The challenge.
Exactly.
Okay, the challenge is very clear. Alireza is in a race with MBL and Wesley. He needs a result.
And there we see E4, E5 playing.
Piano.
Yes, D3, D6. So far, so good.
When Alireza put his bishop on C4 in the initial move, it wasn't really centered. Then he played the move D3 and centered it. So, I've always liked it to place the pieces as accurately as possible in squares. A2, A4.
We saw an unusual move there from Alireza. Bishop B6. I was expecting H6, Knight F6.
By Fabi with the black pieces. Bishop B6 is a very peculiar move. A6 or A5 or something of that nature, but already committing the bishop to B6 makes me at least consider the idea of maneuvering the knight ASAP to the C4 square and tickle the bishop. We did see the move B4. Again, very crafty play by Alireza as he's leaving castles and delaying the moves a little bit. H7, H6. Also a crafty play. It has been played
before, 7 games in my database. White has mainly castled, as you mentioned. Knight D2 has also been tried. Bishop E3, I think maybe not that move. We're going to see H3. Now there's no games. But you feel like the contours of the position are so familiar that the players know instinctively what plans to go for.
Yeah, H2, H3, what can I say? My brain turns to mush when I see these positions because, like you say, they're so transpositional. But this one is definitely not in the playbook. I have seen the knight on C6 go to E7 so that it can transfer to G6, but I am almost always, and I mean capital exclamation mark, seeing the knight go to F6. Knight E7. This is really off the track.
And there we go, knight G6. But this knight maneuver, again, seems to be like the most fashionable way to play the low passes. And knight to F1.
Knight to F1.
Castles is a nice move.
Knight to G3 to...
exactly, to eyeball the F5 square.
Exactly. By the way, the players are kind of taking their time.
Well, they've played a lot of moves, 11 moves, and Alireza's 3 minutes and 52 seconds, whereas Fabi has 4 minutes and ticking down to 10 seconds.
Queen to B3. I was thinking castles and bishop takes C4, D takes C4, double my pawns, yet the kind of useful queen B3 intimates that he wants to recapture with the queen. And he's done that. Now again, this knight is so strangely placed on g6. The knight on f6 is so common. Knight back to e7. Sometimes you do want to just toss in the move a5 and gain a little space.
Alright, because the knight is on g6, I'm thinking you can slide over to the corner with the king and then go for f5, being the break. For queen d7.
A little bit, yeah, you can do that. A little bit dangerous. I'm seeing, if I'm white, I'm playing
a5,
for
d4.
a5 and d4, and to try to take some of the sting out of the potential f7, f5.
I like this plan because in these type of positions, it's all about playing d4 when black isn't quite ready for it. And you can stand there with the tension for quite a while, but it's not really clear what black is doing. You know, white has a lot of happy moves. You support the center, you centralize your rooks. I love a5. It's like the modern way of playing chess.
Exactly.
d5.
a5, bishop a7, bishop e3 was a possibility. No. Bishop e3 immediately, d5 came immediately, and queen b3 immediately. So pause, because you start to look at ideas of bishop takes e3 and or d5, d4. Now that the pawn is on d5, I'm warming up to your suggestion, Jovi, of playing f5 in this position.
That's because I'm a thug at times.
A thug.
Absolutely. I like
like
playing rook to d8. But you know, I think Fabi is very much on the same page as us. Thinking about centralizing. Oh, when the time is right, you don't need to rush with it. f5.
Again, sorry to be a broken record. The inclusion of a5, I'd feel just a tad more comfortable with noticing that the queen is targeting the a pawn. By the way, you called yourself a thug. I love that video with Grishik. It's a thug's life.
Yes.
I mean, isn't that an instant classic?
It was good. He's one of the funniest people in chess. And there you see.
Brilliant. Rook to d1.
I'm expecting Fabi to just wait. I don't know, I really like getting the king away from the white queen's eye line.
Yeah, some happy moves as you described them. King h7, king h8, c7, c6. There's an argument to be made for that move. And finally, and most pertinently, f7, f5 is a move I'd really
Takes
consider.
in the center. That one I wasn't thinking, because I thought it's very good to maintain the tension for as long as possible, but he captured with the pawn. I thought he would capture with the knight to preserve the integrity of the pawns, but nope.
Nope. I think the issue with the recapture of the knight was knight to d5. Pawn on e3 is a little sensitive, but these pawns are ugly. They are ugly, but they control important squares. The e3 pawn stops the knight from jumping to f4. The e4 pawn just keeps the knight on e7 at bay. Now the question is queen c6. Where should he go?
I was thinking queen e6.
No.
Let's have some poetry on the board.
These players have no sense of aesthetics.
Now what you've got to do is put your knight on e2, and then the transformation is complete.
No.
Okay, but of course, h4 play.
h4 was a strange move. King to, remember, open files, rooks love open files, clear. So what you have to do to neutralize an open file is to control the business squares. Put the king on e2, and you control both the f and the d file. h4, no.
Okay, well, knight c6, h5, knight e7.
See, the problem is
knight h8.
the problem is that the knight was doing nothing on g6, so you've just spent two moves pushing the knight to a better circuit. The knight would be better placed. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, hang on a second. There's another one, yes.
Oh, I may stand corrected. Just a second.
Well, hang on a second, because there's a counterattack against b5.
Yes,
So Fabi keeping the game alive tactically. How do you defend that? c4?
Well,
knight to f7.
c4, knight to f7. It's not the end of the story, because you could end up transferring the knight to gorgeous square. The knight will be anchored by the h5 pawn on the g6 square. So here c4, knight f7, knight h4 would have my attention, as would the more direct, if you will, knight takes
and
e5.
he goes for that one. Knight takes b5.
And something like c4 at that moment.
He
Rook
trades
takes
rook.
f1. Okay,
You have to capture with the rook.
that's clear.
And now knight takes b5.
Okay, so now in this case, knight to e2, knight to d4 would have my attention.
And
The knight on g3 has got to get into the game.
yeah, absolutely. But then this knight on b5 is going to park itself on d6. Counter attack e4.
We'll deal with that. Clock time, sorry, Jody?
Both players around the 1 minute and a 20-second mark. And I can, well, in the big fight for second place, I can tell you that MVL is better against Levon Aronian. So this is definitely a game that Alireza wants to be scoring.
Ooh, c4. That's a big time move. c4, I'm not sure. I'm looking at these knights. They do look ugly, but as soon as you start to see knight to g5 and knight to f7.
B1. There's a weak pawn on b7. Let's go.
Well spotted.
Well, thank you very much.
You start to look, once you have that kind of mentality, you start to look for targets. And what is the weaknesses? By the way, the
Okay,
knight
rook
on
b1 indeed played. Knight g5, rook b1. And I also like this pattern of a pawn on c5 attacking like a horse. This pawn on b7, it just restrains it. And 50 seconds there for Fabiano Caruana.
By the way, do you hear the crying of the knight on h8? It's saying, get me into the game, please get me into the game. I feel useless. So pay attention to that. Rook to b8. What is the plan after rook b8? I know it's passive, but I'm defending an important pawn.
Right, you do have a knight
He's
to
done it.
e5, knight c6.
Ooh, that. That.
I see all the tactics when it comes to pawn hunting.
Wow.
b6 quickly played.
I am impressed. Knight to c6.
And by the way, MVL has won against Levon, so he moves
Huge
to
victory.
21 points. This is absolutely huge.
By the way, it's ugly. It's very, very ugly that I would play rook b7.
He's done it.
Just with the intention of bringing that knight into the game. I know I have this temporary issues. Rook to b4. Okay, that seeks to release the
Finally,
knight on g3.
the knight comes out of his own cage.
Right. Can I squirm? Oh, that was a...
e5. This is a nice move, controlling d4, f4.
But knight is...
Yeah, the pressure is on Fabi. He doesn't have too much time either. 9 seconds.
Sorry, I'm just going to refresh my board, but knight to c1. Oh, that was Fabi's idea. He's trying to force the capture so he can recapture with the rook.
Yeah. The king's now walking into play.
And now I would probably play knight to d8.
Well, Fabi made that move with 3 seconds left on the clock.
Did he?
Yes.
That's not much time.
No.
Knight to d8. Get rid of that knight. Defend the rook so that we can play b6 takes c5.
A set of knights have left the board.
Oh,
Yeah, but
Fabi
you can...
recaptured with the knight, not with the king.
Well, he had to protect the rook so that he can threaten b takes c5. And so that's why we see a trade, but Alireza winning the e-pawn.
I would have traded the rooks. If I were Fabi in that situation, I would have taken on b6 with the rook because I want to play a knight ending.
Yeah.
With a pass pawn.
Oh my goodness me, the b pawn is under fire, and well, Fabi losing that pawn.
And
the king
this fight
steps up
for the
to
center.
f4.
Alireza is going. They take the pawn.
You can take it. No, you can't. You can go knight c. Knight c6.
check, and then take the pawn.
Oh, he almost grabbed that pawn.
He almost did it with the wrong. Yeah, then he would have been pinned. A tenth of a second, 1 second for Fabi.
Yeah, they're on their seconds.
He didn't play King F5. Oh.
No, the players are just playing on instinct. And
Knight E1?
Knight.
Yes,
Knight
he's done
F3.
it.
And now.
Now he's winning. King to F5.
And there you go.
And there you go. And that fight for second, you mentioned MDL did win.
He won, and Alireza beat.
Do we have any other games currently in progress?
No, we can hear from the sound of applause
that
the round has indeed finished.
Very appreciative Croatian audience that lets us know when the round is over. Wow, Miro, the fight for second. How did Wesley do?